Hey YouTube, it's your girl Drina Love back with another video. Welcome back, welcome back. How are you doing, my busy bees? Staying busy, I hope. Keeping it sexy, always. And pampering yourselves. We forget that. Little things do matter. And little things that come across our memory, sometimes touch us a little more than others. And it has been about 20 years since I jumped back into any of my cosmetology books or anything of that sort. And I went to Walgreens just to window shop, like I always do, and use my points before they run out to buy freebies. And I ran across this Kiss kit, which is an acrylic kit that comes with acrylic, the powder, the glue, nails. It came with a file, a cuticle pusher. It came with a brush that works really well. And I just jumped on in. I grabbed an emery board off the shelf and was like, you can do this. You remember this. These are your old skills. And I wanted to make sure that I incorporated a few shiny objects. Gotta have shiny things. And I won this nail polish from It's Amanda in her December giveaway last year. And I can't remember which box we got these in, but I wanted to try them. And I tried them on my real nails, and they were okay. The more shimmery ones stayed on the longest than the regular gray. I think I had them too long, so what I did is I put them at the root instead of at the tip, because I do keep my hands in water all the time. I'm always washing dishes, and this cuticle oil from BoxyCharm came in at the right time, because oh my goodness, it does wonders to my hands. It does wonders to my skin. I really, really like this, and I'm really glad that I did give myself a little bit of pampering to make myself feel better. I was feeling a little under school starting and me not knowing nothing about computers. It was a hot mess. And to find out it wasn't even my fault. The computer was just not hooked up properly to their website, so it was their fault. Then I thought I couldn't navigate it very well, and I ended up putting my son in like a third grade class instead of a first grade class, and that was also their fault, not mine. As far as they didn't give us a listing of the teachers, that wasn't posted outside of the school. It was just one thing led to another, getting phone calls, your child is not in school, they didn't log in this morning, and I'm like, oh yes we did. And I would bring the computer down, and they seen it was mostly their connection, and we were also in a different school. So I was like, my world is coming to an end. I'm already starting this school year out on a real good bang, but no, it wasn't my fault at all. So I figured I'd treat myself and did my nails, something I don't normally do. And then we got our BoxyCharm Premium in, and the Ciate London palette is so pretty. And I created a look with it that took a lot of effort because I've never used a Ciate London palette before, and it just seems like it was lackluster. It was just not my favorite, and was getting ready to hit the declutter pile button real hard. But that all changed when I said, you got to give it another try, a couple of tries, one palette 1 week. You got to do your thing. Fill this palette out more so to the way you like it. And I said, okay, I got you. Let's do this again. And let's film it this time, because I think a lot of us have the same problem. Sometimes it's the neutrals. Maybe there's not enough. Sometimes it's the shimmers. Sometimes it's the glitters. So I figured I'd give you what my third impression would be of using this palette, and how I made the most gorgeous look, and it lasted majority of the day. Because at first I thought it was fading away, and it was, and then it wasn't. So, and it was more so because I kept doing this to one of my eyes, and I was just like, this eye's popping, it's banging, ain't nothing wrong with it, but you forgot you kept wiping your eye when you get to thinking, honestly. You know, you start doing this to your eye. You ever notice yourself like doing some things, touching your face when you're thinking? And that's what happened. So I stopped thinking and started to doing and called it a day. So I'm going to prime my eyes with a few different primers. Now that was one thing I did learn. Because of my beautifully aging eyes, I've seen that I had to do a few extra steps. And it's okay to have to do a couple extra steps. You want to get that glamorous look, you try one primer, you try two different primers, sometimes it's third, fourth is charm. So I'm going to prime my eyes like I normally would with the Color Mate foundation primer that reminds me of the MAC Paint Powder Primer Potion, and set it like I normally do, just to give myself my beginner base. How are you all doing? How's the world treating you? I've heard that a lot of schools aren't ready to start their online schooling yet. We're kind of like one of the first in my town to start this early, but this is what time we usually start school, and we end about a week or two earlier than other states and cities too. So I'm used to it always starting this early, August 10th, you know. Even when I was in school, I was like, man, do we really have to go through this again? Yep. August 10th has always been our first day of school. Okay, and I'm going to clean up as I go with the little makeup micellar water, just to keep it clean, neat, in a way that I can control, because, you know, masks are the new now, and I did wear this look with a mask. So I want to be able to keep that all nice and neat and also on point. You know, I have developed a little texture here by my eye that causes my looks to be a little off, so that's why I'm raising it up just a tad. My crease kind of look, giving it a sharp edge, because that's the way I like it, sharp and on point. And then we're gonna go in with an eyeliner brush, and we're gonna take some black from Morphe. This is a Morphe primer, and I'm going to kind of smoke out this part of the eye, because it doesn't give me very deep colors to smoke out with. You think that brown that I was pointing out at the bottom is really smoky, but it's not at all. It is a rosy brown, and it's a very nude brown. All the colors had to be built up, extremely built up, to get the opaquity that I wanted. So I figured, if you want a smoky eye, create a smoky base to start, since this palette is kind of full of eyeshadow toppers. Majority of the shimmer shades to me are toppers. They did not feel or act like opaque pigments at all. They were pretty toppers. Just basically that. So, gotta make sure they match as best as I can. Because for some reason this is like my good eye. It can give me the best shape, and the other one is like my very intense baby that you gotta love on a little more. I was so excited to get this palette, because I don't have any Ciate London palettes. I was looking and I don't have any. And so this is the first, and I can't say I've added too much more to my collection of Ciate London as far as I've got the shimmer sticks or glitter sticks that are kind of like Vaseline sticks, which is fine. Um, but yeah, not too much from this brand. And I wanted to build it up a little bit, but the way things have been going as far as the economy, are all financial issues, especially with me not working. I was very happy to get it in a subscription box compared to ever trying to buy it outright, because that can't happen right now. So I'm gonna set this with my Bella Pierre setting powder, and that is my normal way of doing it. And it's sad because I was using it the other day and I realized at the very last minute that I have hit some serious pan, and I know I'm a powder hoe, and I've only been using this to set my eyes, but you can basically see that that's all I got left is the bottom, the coating of the bottom, and that's it. That's all I got left. So I was like, girl, are you going through too much setting powder again? You done used 3 Ciate London setting powder, vacay powder. You went through 2 different Becca Hydra powders, the colored and the original. And I was like, no, never that. Never that. Can't blame it. It's not my fault that this powder's gone too fast. No, it has to be the fact that this was an Ipsy $12 bag. I don't think it's a full size. It's a sample size. It's got to be a sample size, so that's what I'm going with. Alright, so I put on my setting powder, and then I'm going to just dust off the extra. And go in with my stiffer, fluffy brush into that dark brown that I was pointing out at the bottom here, because none of them have names. And then above that, I'm going to use this one to blend it out all the way to the brow, because, I mean, it is such a pretty palette as far as the aesthetic, the whole thing, even though it throws you off with the box being silver. It's still super pretty, but you do have to like work at the colors. This was like, I'm one of the people, I hate that I said like so much, because it's not something that I say all the time. I try to find a different word to entail that, but since we've been at home, it seems like I have no one to talk to but myself and my kids, and they say like a lot, so I'm sorry about that. But what I was trying to say is that it was you had to build it up. As you see, I'm having to build that color up to even get it to transmit to the black color on the black eye, the black base. And then when I try to move it over, you see how it's kind of still very muted on a more flesh tone base. So I just built that up really a lot. So I feel this palette will definitely see its future, not in the sense of me getting rid of it, because it has an awesome mirror, but in a sense that I will be using it up and probably popping out the base pan and refurbishing it once it's empty, because they are such pretty colors, and you do have to work them. You just have to work them. As you've seen, this is the same one color that I've had to build up on this eye to finally get it as soft as it is, but it will be fine. We're going to add other colors to it, but not as, it just is very muted. It's very muted, but it's pretty. I think it just really depends on your skin tone and also how aggressive you treat the palette. Because they're, I would want to say they're pressed really hard. Some that are pressed too soft, they give you a lot of kick up, and this doesn't give you a lot of kick up. But those that are pressed too soft will give you a lot of kick up, and then you got to deal with the fallout. This does not. It's so packed. It's packed so tightly that I have not gotten a whole lot of fallout, which is a blessing and a curse all at the same time, because that means that you have to build up the color, because the pigments aren't going to be boom in your face. And that's why I said I'm going to hit pan quicker than I would expect to. But it does come out really pretty. Alright, now I'm going to go into that lighter shade to blend out the brow. Now that one's pressed way softer, so you get a pop of the brown, the light brown to blend out, which would most likely be other people's transition shades, because I tried it as a transition shade, and it was beautiful, but it wouldn't let me build up any of the other colors on top of it, so it had to go as a blender shade and not a transition shade for me. So I'm just using a dry washcloth to wipe off the brush, just to get up in here and blend it more, make it all seamless. And I definitely will have to go back into that color, the first color, to bring it back to its opaque. I'm just not saying that word right. Bring it back, basically, because as I was blending it out, it went way too soft. I want it to be a difference of gradients, so you can see the different colors that I use. And I kind of put that all over the eye just to blend it out better, lighter down to the bottom. Because I was going to do just 3 shades at one point, and I was like, I don't do 3 shades. Come on, girl. Do it. Keep it sexy. Okay. So like I said, they are, majority of all these pigments and pressed glitters are toppers. So I will have to go into a different brush, something a little more denser and flat. And we'll go into the shimmery blue here next to the green. I'm still on the bottom row, basically. So I'm going to use this blue and this green. So the blue is more like a black blue, which is nice. It's just a shimmery black blue over the black base. And that's basically my outer V that I want to build that up on. Oh, I feel like an eyelash went in my eye. Alright. And this is just a Wet n Wild Bretman Rock collab brush, if you're wondering what brush I was using. And it's just a flat shader brush, and it does pick up nicely. Because in the beginning, like I said, I had to try this with different primers and also different brushes to find what would give me the best payout. Because even with my finger, I wasn't getting enough payout. blending that out here. And bring it downwards. And now I'm going to go into that green shade. And drag that into the black, blackish bluish gray shade. Now they do mix, these shimmers do mix beautifully. But as far as getting the one color to give you the same payout as 2 or 3 of them layered up on each other was not going to happen. Okay. Different light. Gives it a different hue, I know. Let me turn it down some so you can see. So that green is just like a really pretty topper. That's why it was very important that I drew all the base color deep into my crease, because it is not opaque at all. It is not that kind of color you would want it to be, but when you pick it up on the brush, you see that's just all you get. And then it hits hard pan really quickly, the green. But it is really pretty. And it is built up nicely. Let me just tell you that for sure. It just is very muted. It's one of those, if it's on camera, I guess, because in person it's like, oh, that's really pretty. But it's very, I don't know, mature pretty, because it's not heavy on the color, if that makes sense. Okay. And then give me a little more. Oops! Lord, my cellar water just squirted everywhere. Okay. We have to keep going back in and getting that glitter up, because, oh Lord, it can be massacred trying to get it off later on. Alright. Is there one in my pocket? Yep, I do. I needed a Kleenex because my cellar water went all over my mirror, the ciate lighted mirror. And it's such a clean, like, vivid mirror that you see everything. I love it. Alright, so regular school morning, because we are literally on a video chat, and it is, you know, they see you, they see me. It's way more than intense than being in a regular classroom, because they see and hear everything, especially when your babies are just like tired. My kids are not morning people, so they're definitely like, I don't want to be here, and they're gonna get mad. So I color correct, easy fix of my morning eyes. Make me look more awake and alert, because I am definitely not a morning person. I'm a night owl. Always have been a vampire night owl. But I have to force myself to go to sleep at night now. I have to force myself to get up. Well, stay up, because I'm quick to get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, but I don't stay up. So it's been pretty hard trying to make myself stay up like that, where I get up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, oh man, I want to lay back down at 6 or 7, and it's like, nope, gotta stay up because gotta get these babies up for school. Gotta pick some breakfast. So there's just some things you have to do that you just have to do. And I've been forcing myself to stay up. So my poor saddlebags, they may see me in the morning with my uh, strips on, but I think that they don't care. The kids are the only ones that are like, what's that? And they don't care either, but they're like, they click from each other's picture, they click on each other's names, and so they're able to see each other, and so they don't feel alone, I guess, where it's just a teacher, and they can see their friends and talk to them during breaks, and which is nice. It's just like recess, but then sometimes, they get distracted with each other. Because their siblings are there, their younger siblings are in there also trying to pretty much learn. I'm putting this right up against my lash line, because this is basically the only part I'm going to have this kind of makeup on. And this is a Morphe concealer. And I stretch it all the way up and around now, because what's the use of putting it all from here down when you already gotta go? I gotta be at the school at a certain time of the day to pick up their lunches, because that is one thing that I don't want them to get too used to. That because we are a part of the system and we do receive free lunch, so I pick it up every day. And sometimes even when they're at school, they don't like their lunch, so they come home and they're hungry. But since they're home, they can play that mess. They don't like their lunch, and they want something different. And they always want McDonald's. They always want you to go and pick up fast food lunch, because when they're at school, they don't know that mom and sis sneak out and go have lunch at least once a week or twice a month or something like that. They don't know about that. But now that they've been home all this time, they've learned our little secrets, and they want to be in on that. They're like, hold up, you've been leaving us out this whole time? Yeah, kind of. But it's okay. I just had to readjust that also with myself and my daughter. And I'm like, we'll do lunch once a month, twice a month. They're included too, because they already get included. It's not like I leave my babies out. It's just those school day lunches where our time to go out before all the drama and be in the world a little bit. But now that we're home, we order and either DoorDash it or I go get it because I'm the only driver. And that's my time to myself to play my Eagles music, and just blur it out. So I just put a little foundation around everywhere. Not completely engulfing the concealer, but like surrounding it. So it's kind of in a contour, I guess, but not really. Just enough to give me some color back into my skin from feeling a little washed out from the concealer. But yeah, I like to play music real loud and drive across town and pick up our lunch. And my son, the baby boy, he started this, Mom, what's taking you so long to get back? From after not just picking up their lunches, but going and picking up our lunches. Because I told him, we don't eat school lunches because we're not in school, but we will have a sandwich or soup or yogurt, some grapes, home lunch. And that's what I give them as their home snack. So it's not like you're missing out. It's just that it's not in the same order, a sequence of time that my daughter and I are eating. You know, they'll have their snacks after their lunch, when we have our lunch as pretty much their kind of snack food, you know. And that's pretty much all of us, I think, you know, because we don't have time to sit around and just have really big, elaborate lunches. That's always been my thing, you know. Eat cute, be cute, you know, was something that we lived by. Even though my grandmother was like, when you go out, eat cute, but when you're in-house, you know, you eat to stay alive. So it's a way, it's a really big way on yourself when you decide on how you want to look at those mottos. But I think they're mottos that my grandmother just wanted to live by, because she, at her time and in her era and the problems that they had financially, you know, they starved. They were a starving family. And then when she had kids of her own, she was really in with Gone with the Wind, and not in a bad way. I was really into Gone with the Wind too. I always wanted to be like Scarlett, you know, not married with all the men's, but more like desired and pampered and beautiful. And so I would always be like, God is my witness, Grandma, we will never go hungry. Never. And she has always made that a motto. And I would tell her, you know, you don't have to try to plump us up like a, you know, with a, oh my goodness. When we got into health and middle school, high school time, because I was homeschooled, we didn't get the same classes that you all had in school as far as health. And my grandmother taught me by the table, you know, basically. Wasn't worried about the books being in front of you. It was more like, you know, make sure she had her snacks, make sure she has thinking food, something to keep her mouth and her mind going at the same time, something that will make you memorize your lessons in a way. I know that was one of the things she was trying to do as a goal, was to have me remember my lessons.